The FBI's hunt to destroy an Algerian hacker. Blind video reaction provided by Jules. So without further ado, let's jump right in.
January 7th, 2013 was a remarkable day for the FBI and Interpol. They had just arrested Hamza Bendelladj, a notorious hacker from Algeria who had fraudulently made off with tens of millions of dollars from over 200 Americans and Europeans. This feat landed him on the FBI's top 10 most wanted hackers list, and it was on this.
That's like really a significant sum he was like able to gather there. I'm also very excited to like find out like how he did it.
Fateful day that the 3-year-long manhunt eventually came to an end. From being a family man on the outside,
You like the tempo of us smiling. All three are smiling, bro.
to a smiling criminal behind closed doors, Bendelladj lived quite the interesting life. Now, let's look into the crazy adventure of this intriguing personality, shall we? Hamza Bendelladj was born in 1988 in the populous city of Tizi Ouzou, Algeria. He received formal education growing up and studied computer engineering at the University of Science and Technology, Houari Boumediene. Bendelladj was a highly resourceful and prolific individual. He was well versed in computer literacy and as many as 5 different languages, which, as you probably guessed at this point, he leveraged in cybercrime. Not much of his history and background is known, but it is reported that he had a wife and daughter, both of whom went to Egypt after the jig was up, and Bendelladj was arrested in 2013. On the internet, Bendelladj is perceived as many things: a family man, the Robin Hood of hackers, the happy hacker, among other names. This is simply because of his light and warm appearance and the nature of the job he was rumored to have engaged in. So, what exactly was this mode of operation that gave an
But like, don't get like such appearances like wrong. I think like we all know like that such a smile can hide quite some intent. So it's like important to like keep that in mind.
known criminal a colorful reputation? As earlier stated, Bendelladj was skilled in computer engineering and tailored his gifts into hacking and cybercrime. Additionally, the Algerian was a polyglot who spoke a total of 5 languages. Both these factors.
Damn. Bro was a polyglot as well. It's like what? Like multilingualism is always a very profound indicator for a highly capable, intelligent individual. And every picture is a smile. It's like what? It also like shows quite some awareness. Like when he's like so aware about like his appeal and whatnot. It could be that he's like so aware that he like always somewhat like in quotes he spotted cameras and then like went for it, though. Like due to the nature of like how the pictures were like took in the first place, it could also be this gentleman like then like got portrayed that way. So we don't know if we have like a selection bias going on, or like what led to that.
Put together created the perfect skill set he needed for his criminal escapades. Bendelladj utilized a computer malware called the SpyEye botnet to run his campaign. Using the pseudonyms BX1 and Daniel HB, he targeted over 200 American.
So always important. Like for OPSEC, it's like very advisable. Like when you go out there to do activism, like have multiple accounts, multiple names. I have like so many, bro. Like I think I have like five accounts. It's like important to like do that.
Banks and infected more than 60 million computers worldwide. With the virus, he stole bank information, intercepted bank transactions, and stole money from his victims. According to news reports, the virus was developed by his Russian accomplice, Alexander and...
Yeah, like in hacking you have like somewhat like... There are like multiple ways. You have like on one hand, you have people who distribute malware, like via mods, for example, or cracks, or like general software pieces. Then you have like the Mr. Robot type hackers who like go ahead and like hack the system with a console, like this prompt type stuff, this like called zero-click exploit development type shit. Like a zero-click is like highly determined, though it's possible. A robbery. And then you have, of course, like people who simply develop the malware, which is then like being utilized for data handling and whatnot. Like and like these days it became like even more complicated. What was like back in the day? Like we had like 3 people, like if you like highly determined type stuff. And like these days you have like a sandbox which you need to escape. You have a program you need to hack. Then you have like APIs you need to traverse and whatnot. And then you have like local privilege escalation. So it's like it's wild like how the hacking scene like developed in this sense. You have like multiple points of like specialization which gets like administrated, like entertained by multiple talents in that sense, which is wild. Even algorithm and many more words are Arabic, and they added them all in English and stole them. I wouldn't describe it as stealing, like especially in language. I understand the rage that is associated, so it's okay to like declare it for yourself as stealing, like if you feel like it. Like it's totally fine to do that. Like language develops, and I agree. Like the Arabic teachings, they're all present. I think it's like historically out of question what impact the first Arabic scholars had, especially like the first writers. Like the first writers were like those people, like who, like in a lyrical sense, like were determined to like write pieces like the Quran or the Bible and whatnot, and like they exchanged, and those were like the scholars back in the days, and they did great deeds that way. If it is stealing to you, because all those things were created and found by Muslim scientists. Oh, okay. Like IP theft is certainly a thing. No, yeah, like it's out of question. Like there is great thinkers there, as they are like at other places. We have Slato asked to be shot, so fire in the hole. The credit was stolen, so the name was. So basically, they took intellectual property, claimed it was theirs, and basically went with it. This is like a very, very sad thing. I appreciate it, Kaylee. Hi, how are you doing? Appreciate it. Helps. Shoot those pesky bots. Yes. But yeah, I see that. I see that, and so it's like a sad thing that happens here and there, and I hope that if that's the case, that it gets like corrected, at least like in terms of like credibility. Though yeah, the fog of history is also a thing. It's like always a matter of communication and determined scientific methods in order to then like prove claims in that sense.
Andreyevich Panin, who worked with the aliases Gribbo Demon and Harderman, and the pair did their jobs remotely. The SpyEye malware helped the 2 hackers harvest and steal over 200,000 credit card numbers, and this amounted to an assumed $500 loss per card. If the government's calculations were right, Bendelladj had potentially stolen up to $100 million from his victims with just SpyEye. But the question now is...
This seems like a very highly determined hack. Especially when we take credit cards to account. Like the amount of like logistics associated with this amount of money is wild. like not thinking that a bank would be like at play here, because like if they would just simply transfer the money, like there would be a foreign bank. So I assume that that's like out of play. What's more likely to happen here is that they like bought goods with that money and then like exchanged it, or they did like carding in general, where they like just like got the data in bulk and then like sold it to others like who did the carding. It's like $100 million. That's like imagine like I don't know how to even like let's say like a used car for $1,000. Like let's say they calculate this in cars. Those are 100,000 cars. Move 100,000 cars. That's wild. Kind of makes you mad about it too. How English people always wanted the credit for something they never worked on and found or created. I think like I don't know like how many movements there were, though like the stuff that is like currently present for me, and I could be wrong, is like Egyptian people were like the most direction giving individuals in the sense of lyricism, here specifically writing, that can be accounted for. So like when you like ask like who and what, I think it's a great together. And of course like I agree, it's like maddening and like angering when you have then like people who basically take an idea and don't give credits. Though it goes like even far in that regard. I think it's like also very like it happens sometimes. Like don't get me wrong. It's like when we talk like ethics and morals is like always quite complicated. Because where I say like it's important to have governance, especially when we talk just like on an international scale. Though like long story short, I think it's also quite challenging to basically go ahead and just simply repeat something you heard from a video without addressing the source. Because like this is how information gets lost, how information gets obscured. It's like important to like give credit. Yeah, like I heard in the video. Like else, like you just simply like repeat what was there, like without the possibility to cross-reference or like do a peer review on the proposed statements. Let's create a village in the forest so that the state comes and kicks us out there. That's like quite funny. Like to my current knowledge, like there are certainly mechanisms where you can like call out a nation like within a nation or whatnot. The fortress jewels. Don't worry about it. Like currently, that's like what if you're like about to go into the woods or like a remote place and build something, and the state takes note of that. You will get wrecked by the state, which is wild. They would never, because they want their name labeled on everything. Which like you can like also of course like compare, like if you want and choose to do so, a state to a brand or a company. Like I assume like you guys remember it as well, like the made in craze. Which like now like as like since China does it, like people don't look at it that much anymore, at least to my perception within my bubble. Though like I can remember a time where it was like super value to have like on produced goods the made in country XYZ labeled on the product. So it was like quite. I think it was like in the finalization days of like globalization, where they were like crazy about it. And you have this like with every nation, and every nation would love to be the greatest nation. But I think it would be advisable to go ahead and say that humanity itself is great, and that we stop like thinking simplistic and at least like try to see us like as human individuals. Because like that's the funny thing about like fantasy, like word reductionism and whatnot. like to utilize this frame set other people propose in order to communicate constructs and ideas in that way, like ism terminology. It's like fascinating that people tend to often and very fastly, as well as profoundly, forget that they're all human. That like it's always tried to describe a human with advancements, like technological achievements. Yeah, like the human, like somewhat like not to dunk down on people like who do that. No? I think it's like also like some form of love declaration, like to being a human. Like people always try to hide the fact that they're human behind achievements. Like rather than like being proud and like, yeah, I learned so many things thanks to my fellow humans. I was now able to bring to our global community this technology piece. And I'm proud of this achievement we were able to bring into existence together. Cactus walls, you want cactus walls in your fortress. In our fortress, made in and made by. Even it's a Saturday today, and you were supposed to sleep late, so now you're sleepy, so you gotta eat. Thanks to they hate that sentence, honestly. Yeah, which is like wild and sad, in my humble opinion. I think like not living in the within, like what has been given to us, like it's saddening. Because I think like many humans, I think they also have like a hard time to cope with the fact that they're human. Sad for the fellow humans. Good for the thief. I think like you can like even go as far and say that like the thief is also a human. What I think is like super sad when it's like about theft is that like instead of like helping together, because like both parties want like prestige. And, like instead of like learning and asking in order to build up on knowledge, they just simply lie and like take credit for themselves, which is like this what I mean, like what I'm trying to address. Like people try to hide themselves behind achievements, terminology, words. Like it's like as if they were like super scared. Sad stuff.
What is SpyEye, and how did these two distinct nationalities manage to make away with millions of dollars with it? SpyEye made the job easy for the pair. It is a malicious program that attacks internet browsers running on any Microsoft Windows operating system. This means that browsers like Opera, Firefox, Internet Explorer, and Google Chrome are susceptible to the efforts of this malware, regardless of what version of the Windows operating system was installed. The software functioned as Zeus, which was a Trojan horse developed in Russia in 2009, before it was officially upgraded by Panin, Bendelladj's partner, in 2016. FTL grabbers, HTTP access, encrypted config files, and POP3 grabbers. Once used
So like a grabber is something that like takes password information, HTTP access is like that's like the most accessible place within the computer, because like everyone uses a browser, and therefore the HTTP segment like means hypertext transmission protocol. It's like the HTML code which gets like passed, or like the text from the website which gets like passed over this protocol. It's like very easy to utilize, always open, not being like so much scanned as per usual. That's like the way of communication, and it's like a very vast way of communication. So I think like you have like over 60,000 like even more. I think it goes like in the megabyte segment. Like it was quite some time. And you have like a huge amount of data you can transfer over this protocol. So it's a very good thing. And like with post, like the post is like when you send thing, and the get is like when you retrieve things. Now, like if you guys like are interested, you guys can like search the HTTP protocol, and then you guys learn from it.
Appropriately, It can enable hackers to get away with their victims' bank data and money without them knowing. With keystroke logging and form
Like, for example, POP3 is like emails and whatnot.
grabbing, it can steal user credentials for hackers to use for their benefits. Technically, as long as valid users remained logged into their bank accounts, the SpyEye malware would give hackers room to steal their money or initiate online transactions. The way it works is quite easy. When a user's browser is infected, the SpyEye botnet permits hackers to insert new fields and alter existing ones in opened web pages, and this allows prompts for passwords, usernames, and bank details to pop up. Any user that provides this information in this space would have unfortunately fallen into the hacker's trap unknowingly. And what's worse, after money has been removed from the account, the user will not be aware of it because the malware would save and display a false balance in the user's account while concealing the actual balance. In essence, users were being duped online and were not aware of it even after several transactions. This ingenious yet cruel botnet toolkit was sold in underground forums for over $500. Its author and co-author Panin and Bendelladj wreaked havoc with it for more than 2 years and gave the FBI a tough case to crack. But while that might have been true, there was one more factor that made their
Okay, like, this raises some additional questions. Like, did they just distribute the malware, or did they also like utilize the then brought in damages? So like, when they like, did they actively use it to steal, or did they just sell it?
union so solid and anti-law enforcement? The said factor was Zeus. Zeus is a Trojan malware that runs on all operating systems of Microsoft Windows. It is spread through phishing schemes and drive-by downloads, and like SpyEye, it steals banking credentials using keystroke.
So like, those buzzwords are very interesting he's using there. Like, basically, like, again, the ways of like distributing malware is like done, or for example, infecting a game mod, or like a cracked game, or like general software, which is like what he's referring with the, like, in quotes, ominous drive-by download.
Logging and form grabbing. The malware was first detected in 2007 when it was used to steal information from the US Department of Transportation, and it became widespread in 2009. For hackers, Zeus was heaven on earth. It was a platform that made hacking easier and a lot more difficult to crack. Every hacker, novice and expert alike that knew the malware was on board with it.
It's like also like another buzzword. Like, I think like he tried like to maybe like more like to track rather than crack. Oh,
That is, except the developers of SpyEye, Bendelladj and Panin. The authors of Zeus and SpyEye were rivals, and this rivalry was showcased online and through the nature of their distinct Trojan software. For one, SpyEye was designed to remove Zeus from the host computer before infecting them. In addition, Bendelladj, in his business-oriented suit, pitched SpyEye to hackers in the cybercrime community to be a budget-friendly alternative to the Zeus botnet. He had a penchant for marketing to like-minded people, so it did not come as a shocker when he posted animated ads that pimped SpyEye as the Zeus killer. Even though both Trojans served the same purpose, both were not giving the other room to thrive. This rivalry, however, ended in 2010. In October that year, Krebs on Security reported that the authors of both malware had opted to end their feud and merge into one software stack. Subsequently, in November of that same year, it was alleged that Panin had received the source code and rights to sell Zeus from its author, Evgeny Bogachev, aka Slavic. Although many were skeptical about the genuinity of the author's retirement, they still played along with the merger. Following the handover, Panin incorporated components of Zeus into his own botnet, and the new software that came out of it was eventually the new and improved SpyEye, which was used by him and his partner, Bendelladj, in the years following the merger. It was a good time for the company, as it meant more money, and Bendelladj loved money. However, It was
Was like it's a unified like that's the thing, like, especially like about black markets. It's like why it's so important to have an instance like an entity of governance. It's like of course, it's like funny like in those like legal segments you see what would happen if we had like pure anarchy taking place. They merged both customer bases and of course then they're then like able as the market dominator to also dictate and raise the price. Like quite wild what happened there. Actually sleeping all right, man. Like care, have a cozy heap. Yes, don't step on it. Don't step on it.
It was also at this time that the dynamics of the relationship between the author and co-author of SpyEye began to change, and not for the better. After the manhunt for Bendelladj and Panin was over and their case was finally brought to light, the government presented chat logs between Bendelladj and Panin, and with other hackers. These chat logs revealed that the pair had worked together to further the rise of SpyEye on cybercrime forums like Darkode. But it also revealed something shocking. From the chats they saw, it appeared that the relationship the two hackers shared was quite turbulent. This was exemplified in one of the correspondences when Bendelladj announced that he was going to publicly release the source code for SpyEye, a move that would make SpyEye accessible and available for other novice cybercrime thieves to use without having to buy it directly from Panin. Bendelladj had disregarded the sanctity of the merger agreement they had made with Bogachev by distributing copies of the Zeus source code for sale.
It's like also an interesting timing. Man, this makes the whole situation when you like wear the tinfoil hat quite ugly. Like wild what was happening there. Jeez, like it could be that he got yeah, like maybe there was a tip being then presented.
This inevitably made Bendelladj the recipient of all purchases made. As expected, Panin was not happy with the whole situation, and both eventually had a falling out. The lack of mutual respect and trust characterized the nature of their business relationship, as revealed by the US court, and as a matter of fact, it also played a part in
Like that's a thing like in business altogether and in general. Like once like just like also the importance of like rightful and morally righteous contract structures. Because like once trust gets lost, it's gone. It's gone because you then like can't know anymore. Like if it will work, you know, at least like to a point where you're like then where you're then required to like, which is like why we have bureaucracy so much, because like it grants you trust where you have a protocol, compliance. Those are very essential things, and like when this is happening, then it's like required, and like especially like in relationships, like those gentlemen have, then the trust for them is gone, because like without protocoling everything that has been said, making a contract for everything that needs to be done, like that they won't work together anymore, like due to the initial trust being gone.
their downfall. So how did this play out for both of them in the end? While in transit from Malaysia to Egypt in January 2013, Bendelladj was intercepted and arrested in Bangkok, Thailand. The US law enforcement agencies had been on his tail for 3 years. When they finally managed to get a hold of his location, they arrested him through a sting operation. News sources revealed that Bendelladj had been in talks with an undercover police officer and was caught trying to sell a copy of SpyEye to the agent for $8,500, which approximately amounts to 5,500 euros. The Algerian hacker did not resist when he was caught. He simply bade his family goodbye and welcomed his fate as it came to him. Prior to his arrest, very little was known about Bendelladj in media outlets. This, however, changed immediately after his arrest. It makes you wonder, what exactly did Bendelladj do to gain such popularity? It was just after his arrest that his nickname as the Smiling Hacker or Happy Hacker became widespread. Why was this so? Well, in any normal situation, at least from the cases we've seen so far, anybody arrested for cases like Bendelladj's would have appeared apprehensive, indifferent, or ashamed. However, this is far from the case for the Algerian hacker. While he was bound in cuffs, he had a genuine smile plastered on his face. This demeanor was caught on camera and was subsequently circulated in the local news media.
Which is like why I said in the beginning it could be that they like basically branded that. Like because it makes really good headlines saying that smiling hacker, and I think of course like then like news organizations pick up on it because they are also like ad revenue incentivized, so they sometimes then like tend to brand people. And I'm still excited like what led to this branding like in the first place.
But surprisingly, it appeared that was not the only thing that made headlines regarding Bendelladj's case. With that said, what more could this smiling hacker do while in cuffs? While his popularity grew in media outlets, Hamza Bendelladj was soon subject to a number of rumors. In one case, it was alleged that the Algerian hacker had been given the death penalty by the US court. Additionally, there was news that Bendelladj had donated all the money he stole to charity in Africa and Palestine. Not only were these claims circulated in printed media, there were also pictures to consolidate it. In one post shared on social media, there was a picture of a man resembling Bendelladj standing with his signature smile with a noose around his neck in what looked like an open execution. The picture sparked an outcry worldwide, and public opinion of Bendelladj changed swiftly as he was soon pictured as a hero who didn't deserve such injustice. Soon after, however, these claims were later proven to be false as authorities explained that Bendelladj was still very much alive. And the man in the photo was Masjid Kavu Sifar, an Iranian who was executed for killing a...
Ah, that's very interesting. So it was like a misconception that took taking place there.
judge. Furthermore, there were no official documents to prove that Bendelladj had in fact donated the money he plundered to charitable outlets. On the contrary even, it was established immediately after his arrest by law enforcement that Bendelladj himself had admitted to using the funds he stole to fuel his lavish lifestyle, like flying first class and lodging at luxurious places. To corroborate the truth regarding Bendelladj's rumored execution, US Ambassador to Algeria, Joanne Polishek, stated that computer crimes are not charged with the death penalty. All these statements discredited the rumors surrounding the Algerian hacker, but regardless of what was true or not, the rumors had irrevocably caused a storm that was difficult to calm.
Which like shows you the power of like imagery and misperception. It was like recently like watching a video. Like, I don't know like if I would be able to find it again, but it was like saying how powerful the lie is, like which gives us like the opportunity to be always very cautious about like what we hear, especially in times of AI, where like nowadays it's actually like even possible to produce like content like in such a vast vast way that's like gives you to think, like, and then like being able to like see like what like if you try to like empathize with stuff like that, like how would you feel like as yourself, like being like this being happening to you. So it's like always important like to have like a source of governance, like the court system, and like being as neutral as possible, like until like court, because like the court is like required to find the materialistic truth about something, and there are ways to find the materialistic truth, and in the end the truth prevails, and like lies, they get discredited really, really hard. And like it also like introduces like some fog, like some information fog, like some haze, where it's like then like hard to like finally determine like what is true and what is being a lie, in that sense. It's like wild. This is like the power of imagery. Like Niccolo Machiavelli wrote about it, if I'm not mistaken. Like there are like also documentaries like about fascism, which are very, very good in that sense.
He had earned Bendelladj mixed reactions from the members of the public. Some held opinions and sentiments that were similar to that of the authorities, while others still showed the Algerian hacker unprecedented and renowned sympathy and support, with some going as far as making petitions to governments to intervene in his case. Perhaps his title as the Smiling Hacker and Robin Hood of hackers worked in his favor. But since the authorities had made it painstakingly clear that Bendelladj was alive and was neither Robin Hood nor a hero, what exactly became of Hamza Bendelladj after his arrest? Bendelladj and Panin were extradited to the United States following their arrests on international soil. Soon after, both hackers had their fair share of trials until they both were sentenced in 2015. Bendelladj was indicted by a federal grand jury in Atlanta, Georgia, where he faced 23 counts of indictments for conspiring to commit wire and bank fraud. In June 2015, he pleaded guilty to all charges, including helping Panin develop and market the SpyEye bot and running his own SpyEye on hacked computers, and was sentenced to 15 years in prison. On the other hand, his business partner Panin was convicted similarly and was sentenced to 9 years and 6 months in prison. This marked the end of their long reign of terror, and given how much publicity the Smiling Hacker has garnered for himself, we hope the changing power of public opinion would deter him and his associates from walking down the same path next time.
Well, which like also shows you the responsibility like news organizations have, like especially like when they go ahead and like brand people. I think there was like also a similar instance like with school shootings, where like people then like felt motivated to do such heinous crimes in order to get publicity, which is like very, very sad. And like it reminds us like to be responsible, like to be truthful and be a human. Like don't like even though it's a smile and it looks friendly and like people are laughing and whatnot, like always remember that also a human can do very, very heinous stuff. So like there's the image and the truth. So seek the truth, because this is what counts in the end. Good. Was a very good video. The FBI's hunt to destroy an Algerian hacker. What was made by Accomplice Crime channel. I will link the video in the description. Nice dude. Very nice. Like the video. Link description. Maybe go there, subscribe, like. Very nice material. So without further ado, YouTube, I'll sign off on YouTube for now today. I love you guys, and as usual, peace.